Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you about how to install Bizappay Payment Gateway for Malaysia user. So you need to go to Mini-Apps in the left side. Then after that you must click Install App. And then you need to find Bizappay. So you must click to this version. The latest version is now 1.0.3. Click Select. And then you must see it. There's several actions for create category, get category, payment bank list, create bill, which is we will do a lot about this. But for this video, are we going to show you about how to create a bill first. Alright. So for documentation, you must refer to this link, or you can click to this link lah. Alright. So we click install. And then you need to enter your API key, and where you can get this API key, you need to go to the users dashboard for Bizappay dashboard, and then you click settings, and you must find API key. Here is your key, you need to copy, and then you can paste here. Right, so click save. So now the authentication is updated. Alright, so let's go to the next sections. So next section we're going to show you about how to use this mini app. Okay, now we go to the flow builder. For now, this is my what we call this main setup, but I will change it for example purpose. So I need to change it the main flow to the custom one. So I need to go to the custom flow, which is Bizappay video. Okay, so click to publish. Alright. Okay, there's main thing that you need to know when you install Bizappay. You need to go to the content first. You need to set up some user fields and bot fields. After you set up your mini apps, you need to go to this field, this tag, which is namely as a contents, and then after that you need to go to the user fields, and then currently I'm doing it in a separate folder, so I know that which one is the user will go, or I store the where I store the code or the input from users. Okay, so basically it's the best thing, you need to separate the user fields into custom folder. Alright, so this is what I'm doing. This is just an example only. It's okay if you want to do yourself. You need to set up according like this lah, because some of the output from the API or the mini app, we need to save it to the custom field that we will use to relay some message to the customer or the client lah. Alright, so the first field is a BP bill code, which is the code that created after we create the bill, and then we capture it and we store in this field. So this called the Bizappay payment bill code. So every time when you want to call back the bill code, you can use this bill code. So another one is a BP category. So this is one is in the JSON format, and then you need to know that JSON we will capture or relay produce some message with respond list of category that you have in your account. So if you have only one, so the output may be one only. So if more than one, so it will give more than one output. So the third one is the BP date time. Here is I mentioned this for the payment status date and time. So every time the customer have done the purchase or complete the payment, the inbound webhook will get the response from the Bizappay server. In the response, it will mention the payment status date time. So you can relay this message to the customer also. So that's the next one is a BP payment status. So this one is very useful, especially if you want to relay some message. Especially it's like the use case is when the customer successfully paid. So you might want to send some message to the customer that they have done the payment. So when the payment is failed, so we tell to the customer that this payment is failed. So this payment status is very useful in that response. And the next one is BP payment URL. So Bizappay payment URL is where after the bill created is after it is the same response array response from the Bizappay. It will output the bill code. At the same time, it will also produce the BP payment URL, Bizappay payment URL. So, and the next one is the Bizappay total amount. So this one you also from the webhook response get it from the callback URL we set up for the Bizappay payment URL. Alright. Okay, so this basically is the user field. Why we mention user field? So it will specific for the current user. So let's say I'm as a customer, so it must be specific or unique for each customer. But if we use bot field is like a reference to ourselves as a business owner or the bot. So we can save some fixed value for that, and then we can call it back for several type of use. In this case, I'm going to use bot field, especially for to store the Bizappay API key. So each time, every time when we want to do some action, we need to have we need to include the Bizappay API key also. So what you need to do is you need to create some new. I delete this first. Copy. I delete. Okay. So now I'm going to show you how I create this bot field to store our own API key. Where we get it here from the dashboard Bizappay. So we click to the new bot field, and then we click copy and we click paste here, and then you can also write some reference for your reference lah. Sorry, I'm going to show what it is. So make sure in the type is text, not anything else lah. And good to go, save. Alright, so next one, after we settle for the user field and bot field, if we go to the flow, okay, and in the next lessons I will going to show you about two flows. We need to have two flows. The first one, I'm going to show you the product flow, how the customer receive the infos about the product and then add to cart and make a payment. So this one is flow for that. And the second one is the Bizappay payment status, which is the callback URL we call from we set up in the Bizappay in here, and it will call inbound webhook Uchat features. So in this flow, we need to go to set up some another things in the tools, which is called as inbound webhook. So before we reach into this Bizappay video, I'm going to show you how we set up the inbound webhook first. So I don't want to make you confused. Alright, so we go to these tools here in the left side, and then you go to the top right, beside the Facebook ads, click inbound webhook. For now, Bizappay, you check only limited to 5 webhook only. So this one is an example, but I will going to show you how I create the new inbound webhook. So I click new inbound webhook, and then I'm naming it as a Bizappay payment status. So this inbound webhook will we will use this URL here. The URL is for the callback URL, which is after the payment have been paid by the customer. The Bizappay will call this URL and it will trigger some message, and we can deliver the message through this to the respective flow. In this case, I'm going to use Bizappay payment status. So in that flow, the customer will have to set up some not customer in this flow. You need to set up some message specific according to their status, payment status. Alright, so don't forget to active this webhook, and then we click edit. Alright, now in this section we will show you about the sample JSON payload. So when I doing what we call is the sandbox, I will have the response from the Bizappay. But if you want to shortcut, what you can do is you need to go to the documentation page, bizappay.brick.do, bizappay.brick.do. Alright, in this documentation, I will store the inbound webhook JSON format. So what you need to do is just only copy and paste in this sample JSON payload. So JSON payload here is the response you receive when the Bizappay trigger this webhook. Alright, so for JSON path mapping, for this webhook to work, to trigger the flow, there is several criteria that Uchat mentioned. The first one is user NS. If has value, it will be used. But in this case, as we not deliver some, or we not receive, or the response does not give the user NS, we will have to use the phone and or the email. So either one. So in this response, we get two, which is the payer phone and the payer email. Alright, so the first field you need to do, you don't have to do anything, just keep it blank. But the phone, you need to make a $sign symbol, and then you click dot. Just copy the bill payer phone here, copy and paste it here. Same thing about the email, $sign dot, and the bill payer email. Alright, So after that, we click the preview payload. Okay, in the sample data, is actually the payload this webhook received from the Bizappay. So what this going to do? So this one we want to restore. We want to store this output or the response we receive into the respective field. The field will be we will include this input or the response from the Bizappay to manipulate some message to the customer, like the payment status I mentioned earlier lah. Alright, so the response here is when after the customer have make a payment or decline a payment. So it's the same thing output response here. The different thing is the bill status here lah. So the number here, it will depends on the successful payment or not, the status of the payment. Alright, so here the first one, we click the bill status and then we save it in the payment Bizappay payment status we create earlier in the custom user field. So after that, we click add, and then the second one, we want the bill amount. So we save it in the BP total amount, Bizappay total amount. And the third one is the bill this transaction. When this happen, when the transaction is created. So we map this to the date and time is the field. Click add and don't forget to click save. That's all. So after we set up, we need to copy this URL. We have to select or fill in the blank later. Okay, so I'm going to create new notepad just in case. Right. So this subflow, I will choose the Bizappay payment status, but I will show you later lah what is inside this Bizappay payment status. Alright. So in the next section, we show you about how we make the flow for these Bizappay created bills. Alright, how to create the bills. So here, the first one is the Bizappay video or any name you can mention. Maybe you want to name is the checkout flow or anything else. Okay, in this sample example, I'm going to use the product as is a KFC. So you need to set up some script and the flow lah. So it's exactly like a questionnaire, or we collect some input from the users. So the first one, we get what menu that the customer want. Then after they choose, we ask again what they want to add anything else. If not, it will go directly to we will initiate the checkout. So the first one, we ask about their names, their phone number, their email, and lastly is the address. So for the what the criteria to create the bill for the Bizappay, you must have three parameters. The first one is the name. Second one is the phone number, and the last one is the email address. So it was the required one. Okay, so I will delete this first because I will create from the scratch how I create the action. Okay, So after the customer fill the last questions about the address, we will have to create the action to start the bill creating. So the first one, for this action, don't confuse. This one is examples for my reference, what I'm doing, but I will show you in this action from scratch how I do it to create the bill, and going to use this what we call this the mini app. All right. Okay. So the first one is the set custom field. All right. So custom field is in this basic action. We create the set variable value. Okay. What we want to do here is we want Uchat detect this field as the bot user for initially when the customer reach us, the field for email and phone is blank. So if we want to trigger some message using the inbound webhook here, like I mentioned, if UChat does not detect this field is uh, the same with the response, so it will not trigger this inbound webhook. All right. So I hope you clear. Um, so what we're going to achieve is we want the variable for the email and the phone is have a value. These two type is a system field. System field will which required by the UChat ecosystem. So first we have to set up for the email, click email, and then we want to input some value in this email field. So what we have to do, we click this value, we call back the user email which the input the customer input in the flow lah. Alright, so just click save, it will copy, and then another one is the phone number, same thing, you just need to click the phone and then input value. The value is the phone, user phone, and click save. Alright, after that, let's say in another situation, maybe we have a repeating customer that want to repeat buy again the product. So we have to make the field for Bizappay bill code and the Bizappay payment URL is blank or does not have any value. So this one to prevent some duplicate or we pass some value from the previous transaction. So what we can do is we create the first one is the clear variable value. So the first one is the Bizappay bill code, and then the second one is the Bizappay payment URL. All right, and last one is the Bizappay. We want to create the bill. All right, so I need to refresh this page first because there is some value not updated. Okay, For this example, I will going to show using the Bizappay sandbox because we have to do some dummy transaction, but you can use for the production use, you can use the Bizappay app lah. Alright. So after we create the Bizappay sandbox, we need to change some values. So we need to choose some actions, which is in this case we want to create the bill. So click edit action, and then we go to the create bill. Alright. So in this section we will call back the API key we store in the bot field earlier, if you remember. So how to do that? You just put the curly braces here. Then you can call the API key, Bizappay API key here, and then you just uh, move to the next one is the category code. So this one category code, you can either you want to choose to save same thing with the Bizappay API key in the bot field, or you can refer back to your category in this page. You go to the category, you copy this category code, and you just fill in this in the blank. So bill name is the purpose for the bill. What the bill for? So payment for what? So in this example, I'm going to put this as dummy lah. And then in next one is the bill amount. So this one also we when the customer add to cart, maybe you want to put some variable here like the dynamic numbers. Maybe the customer put some chicken wing or burgers, what's like $15, 15 ringgit. So maybe lah. So this one you can also make use the variable lah. Maybe the total or the amount. So but this bill is the must remember this bill amount need in the this field is format in number, so you cannot use the string what we call it as a string type. You need to use this as the number type. All right. So for this example, I just fill in the number like 50 ringgit. All right. So the payer name here, you must include the name for the buyer. What the name buyer, we can just call back the username, or we can just put the name. You can use lah. Username also can use, or you can use first name, anyone. And then next one is the payer email. Also we can call back from the email, which is we set up the value earlier. And also here is for the phone number. You can use the phone field. And redirect, callback, and external reference is optional. From the top one until the payer phone number is the required. You need to fill in the blank. All right. So back to the notepad here. I have saved the value, the URL from the inbound webhook. Remember. So we just paste it here. All right. So whenever the customer have completed the payment, the Bizappay will call this URL back to pass the response back to the Uchat, so that we can use the response back to relay some message to the customer, mention that they have successfully paid the order lah. All right. So now when we created this bill, the response we get is the bill code and the payment URL. So this one is for what for this payment URL. We will relay this payment URL back to the customer, so the customer will just need to click this payment URL, and complete the payment. So we need to save this in the field we create earlier, which is the BP bill code, and next one is URL, BP payment URL, and then click save. Alright, after that, so we will go to the next flow. So when the bill is created, we tell to the customer that sure, I will deliver to you, and then we ask the customer either they want to COD or online. So this one maybe for physical store lah, which is have the delivery services. So when they click the online, in this case, so we want this customer to pay through the Bizappay payment gateway, and then we send some data, some message. We mention that we confirming your order, and then we take a delay because maybe sometime the Bizappay process take us time, so we want give it a delay first, like a 10 second or more lah. Maybe you can set this according to you lah, difference. So don't make the customer wait too long. 10 second is okay lah. So next one is the message. This message included the URL we get from the Bizappay. Here the URL that we get from Bizappay, and then here is the button that we set the Bizappay payment URL also. So the customer have to have option either they want to click the URL here or in the button, either one. So the customer might be want to choose the button lah. So no worries. Alright, so it's completed. So after the customer click to pay, it will pop up a new window, the Bizappay payment page. Then the customer complete the payment, and then after that, we will trigger the flow in the second one that I mentioned is the Bizappay payment status. After the payment have been created, it will go to this flow. Alright, what this flow is all about. Alright, after we trigger this flow, the first one, it will go to the condition. First condition, we have to set up some filter here. So what is all about? The first one is the BP payment status. We want to send to the customer that the payment they have set is the success. The value for one is the success. So how I know? Let me show you. I forgot to mention before. Alright, so in this field, BP payment status, what this field do is it will store the number for the transaction status. So the outcome that we get is in the number. Number 1, either 2 or 3 or 4. Okay. So what is mean by 1? 1 is the for success, 2 is for pending, 3 for failed, and 4 for no action or not paid. Alright. So in this example, I will show only for the success message. But you can do also several other message you can set up when the customer not doing anything, it will deliver some value like 4. Alright, we get back to the Bizappay payment status here. Alright, so I'm going to show you about the success payment status only. So the first one filter is the BP payment status for values 1. So we just call back the BP payment status here, select it, and then if the status is value 1, alright, save. it will go to this message, which is the thank you message, and mention the customer that they have successfully completed the payment. All right. So the next one is the field message. This one is in bahasa, but also this is one message that you can create custom or different lah. All right. Okay. The next one is the example conversation that I made. How I create this happen. So the first one is the customer reach us and then said that I want to order. So we'll deliver the poster to the message as the response, and then the customer will select the product. You might want to change this with your product, and then next one is the what anything is they want to add. No, so we will start the initiate the checkout process. So we need to ask them about their name, their phone number, their email, and then the address. This one is for our reference, maybe for delivery. So after that, we ask them for the payment option. Maybe they want to use COD or online payment. So in this case, for the Bizappay, we choose for online. And then after that, the bot will push some message to confirming the order and wait a second. After that, several seconds, it will come out the new message with the payment URL. And then remember in the flow payment URL, we will deliver two type of output. Sorry, the first one in the link and the second one in the button. So when the customer click either one this or either this one, it will pop up some payment URL, and then the customer will click pay and complete the payment. Lastly, the message we will deliver to the customer is the thank you message lah, with the data like total amount payment paid and then the date of transaction, date and time. That's all. All right. So we're gonna show you how it happened. All right. We're going to pause first. Okay. So we want to continue with the clear chat here. So we get started. So I want to order. Yeah, I want burger. No, my name is Fikri. Okay, next one is phone number 2345768 9. Just example. Next one is the email. So I put the dummy email. Last but not least, okay, zaman. Right. So it will take a second to confirming the order. And then I want to do this online. So here, after the Bizappay Mini-App create the bill, it will deliver these two messages like I mentioned before. Either I want to click this link or I want to click this button. So in this case, I want to test this button. So when the customer click the button, it will go to this payment page, Bizappay payment page. So I just click for this. For example, this one is the staging or sandbox. I will choose for the success payment status. Click pay. Then I click sign in, confirm. So your account has been deducted. So this one deliver the authorization result as approved. So continue with transaction. So here is mentioned the name, like transfer transaction date. So we back to our inbox. So after we create the payment, the bot will send this message to the customer. This one is triggered by the inbound webhook that we put in the callback URL field. So that's all. So if you have anything, you can ask in the comment. So I will make several videos about how to use the several actions in user use case lah. Alright, that's all. Thank you.